Welcome back to the Charismatic Voice. I love science, especially voice science, and y'all know this. And you have quoted this song at me so much that I started to quote it myself, but I've still not heard it. This is totally unacceptable and must immediately be rectified. Let's get to it. Oh my gosh. Rarely has something within the first 4 notes made me squirm as much as this did. I know, that has to be one of the quickest stops ever on this channel. This might be a legendary moment here. You guys probably know what it is that makes me squirm so much. But if you don't, it's that freaking pitch bend. It's like, it's like an orchestra trying to tune that really isn't sure if the note is actually supposed to go higher or lower to get in tune. Oh gosh. That. And then it does it again. Oh my gosh. It's like that violin that's like, is that the right pitch? Oh gosh. Okay. Ooh, those are some fun sounds. I think that exact tone I've heard replicated when people said this out loud in conversations. Like, people have said she blinded me with science to me so much. Not just in comments, not just in live premiere chats or on the YouTube channel in comments, but also on Instagram and on Facebook and on live patron chats and Zoom where people are talking. So I hear that tonality and in person. I kid you not. There's so many people just in person every day that know I really like science. They might not even know about the charismatic voice, but they know I like science. So they say this to me with this intonation right there. There it was.
She blinded me with science.
That's the thing. Okay, I have finally heard the original version of the thing. I'm going to go back. Let's go back all the way to the beginning. Let's squirm again. And then I'll talk about some of the other awesome sounds. I like hold still so hard. Huh. I love the way we have that double up above. And I think it's actually not just an octave above. I think it's 2. Gosh, it's at least 2. It might actually be 3. It's really, really high double up above. Often we see octave doubling where it's just essentially like 8 pitches apart in a scale. And this is an additional double on top, way up higher. So high. I love the bubbles. Oh my, and the beep, beep, beep moment of sound like a phone tone. There are so many cool sounds in here. The sharpness of it reminds me a little bit of Michael Jackson too. I like the production overall. So many cool sounds. So much ear candy.
Blinded me with science.
This is brilliant. This is so brilliant. I love the whole setup with this story. Even the music production is incredible. I'll talk a lot more about the vocals, of course, but also the way that the whole video is set up. I love just even the template for the text and the announcement of different chapters is super fun and awesome. And I love the characters that are being established. So much fun. Sunglasses inside. That moment I think is really interesting. Overall, I've been hearing so many different ways that he's producing the voice. There are lots of different effects, and usually in a track will keep something really similar to give it some sort of continuity throughout. And instead, this track is celebrating all of these fun differences in production. This one was a lot more elongated in the vocal line and then had this fun extra reverb on it. Reverberation. I think that's where I was going. My mind is so excited. It starts to go faster than my words sometimes. And I have to be like, oh, get it into the words in the moment. Nerdy problems. That cracks me up too. The it was like the biggest wobble we could possibly put on a voice. Definitely something done in post. Although I believe there is a similar thing created without post-production in Rock Lobster, which I have a really fun analysis of if you ever want to go check it out. But it's almost like there's a wobble button or a control that he's put on the vocal line and goes, "Nyeh." At that point, mega wide vibrato, go. I totally missed the glance and the deliberate glance back. I will not be distracted by a leg. Oh my, it's a knee. Science. Oh my.
Science.
Oh my word. I don't know if I would have identified that as a sniff. I probably would have identified it as a really soft shaker if I hadn't seen him do that sniff on the sides. Hilarious. I love this very strong synth moment as well. It feels very foreboding. Very foreboding. It's so fun to see lots of acting and storyline here. Want to point out in his vocal, in like that raw vocal file, he's extremely precise with the pitches and the consonants. It is a little more angular in the overall delivery here versus that long legato, very horizontal delivery that I'll often talk about. Let's go back here. Science! Yes!
Science.
Science is poetry in motion? I kind of agree with that. Especially, oh, man. So we recently released a video looking down Will Ramos's throat again and looking at it in different ways. So we went back with the throat camera once more, but we also added like 4 additional tests. It is a massive research project, just so you know, massive. And we are actively doing research on harsh vocalists that has never been done before. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, check out that video. It was released very, very recently. So check it out. But the idea like of seeing science in motion science is poetry in motion. Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's beautiful. It's emotional. Having these discoveries be made in the room, seeing, seeing needles put into his neck, little tiny ones jabbed into his neck though. Yeah. Being used to measure muscle activation. It's so incredible to be there in that moment or see, oh my gosh, when we were in the MRI and I could see this cross section. We always thought that certain things were happening there. We had theories, of course. We know some things and thought others. Finally having some of those thoughts confirmed in an MRI where we can see in video what all is happening below that upper constriction. Because when you're looking at it with a camera just down, it only catches the upper constriction. It can't see beneath that, but the MRI can. So this idea of poetry in motion, yeah, I got to see in motion this stuff that made me feel so much. So I agree with that statement. Yes, yes. Also, the is so much fun. Oh, one more time. Really? I love that guy so much. I love that guy. She blinded me with science. I'm gonna work on it. Okay, I think I might turn that sound bite into some sort of alarm for me. I love it.
She blinded me with science.
The fact that they're trying to hit those shapes with a little hammer in is so funny, especially considering that my 2-year-old can now put that, he's able to do this with his hands now. This is adorable that you would try to hammer shapes in. The trick, just so you know, if you're ever trying to do this and you're really not sure how to get the shape in the hole, you take the shape, you look at it, you go, oh, that's what it looks like. Then you look down, you match it, you start to put it in, and you twist. The twist, that's key. The hammer is not key.
Blinded me with science.
Mega vibrato.
Science.
Oh my goodness, clearing the throat as a percussive element? It was like the sniffing earlier. Now it's clearing of the throat, which, by the way, is not considered particularly vocally healthy. It's like just very abrasive to the vocal folds, in case you wondered. So don't over clear your throat is the main thing you should avoid. Going back one more time. Ooh, how does he make that distortion on top? This is exactly why we are doing research into harsh vocals. It's into distortion, really, in general. What are these other sound sources that are being used to create sound inside of the larynx, inside of the vocal tract? We know that the true vocal folds are used to create a beautiful, clean, pure tone, a pitch. We think we really don't like the idea of the true vocal folds being used to create distortion, meaning any sort of raspy sound, any sort of noise, if you will. That is not how the true vocal folds are designed, right? They have a certain stratification to the tissue. They're built to have this very periodic oscillation. It's supposed to be very regular, and you don't want them to hit too hard because they're very delicate. So there are lots of reasons why other structures are used, and used very healthily, to create distortion, like the arytenoids. Louis Armstrong is a great example of somebody that's used some different structures to create that rattle. Aryepiglottic folds is a great one. And Will's throat, it just like on the top part in some of his harsh sounds, you see it just close into this little black hole. It's amazing, where the top part of his laryngeal structures come together so that more of that tissue can rattle together. Super amazing to me. And we know that the false vocal folds right above, those are used extremely well in things like tube and throat singing to create that extra octave drop down. And they're used in conjunction with the true vocal folds right below. So false are on top, true vocal folds below. Basically, anything that's above the true vocal folds, we've seen in motion, poetry in motion, creating some awesome sounds. His there, I would say that kind of distortion sounds like arytenoid or aryepiglottic folds, maybe a combo of the two. And that kind of acoustic appearance of the sound is one of the things that we're also trying to learn more about. We've actually been able to take all of the tests that we've done with Will at this point, and we're going to be doing on a lot more artists, by the way. And we're taking them and able to compare the acoustic portion with the portion where the camera's down or that he's in the MRI. And we're able to take a look at that and say, what is the property of the acoustics? So we might be able to define in the future by ear what structure is being used with more reliability. Did that make sense? I hope it made sense. I feel like I had a confusing route to that one, all to say I'm excited in the future to actually know by sound what exactly he's doing.
Science.
Science! That. Oh. Wait, I was trying to figure out what was on his feet. It looks like he was trying to go Rocket Man, but with spurs. Amazing. Roller skates. Science. Oh, there's the full Rocket Man. That's what that was. I thought it was a parachute before. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I love the switch for the tune there to go up high, and how it was emphasized by the finger. Pointing up high like that can also be really helpful for singing higher notes. Really cool. Yeah. A terrible dream. I feel, ooh, violin. I feel like he's staring up into a ring light, which feels weirdly familiar to how I used to film videos. I did not know that they would have a violin come in and pretend to play that opening line again. I had no clue. That was some sort of weird foretelling right there. I feel like I'm a seer right now. Well, she is super beautiful. Oh my gosh. I saw that the tattoos before resembled a musical instrument, and now that I see him pretending to play the tattoos on her back, that's amazing. What a beautiful way of replicating an instrument on a body. Holy cow, I love it. This is a weird, awesome dream.
She got again. She's tied it up. I can't find anything. All my tubes and wires, careful not
I am going to remember that phrase for such a long time. It's poetry in motion. I love that phrase. I'm so into it. One more time. Oh, side note, I love the way he's using this sort of heightened sense of speech here. It's amazing how singing can be so closely related to speech. Essentially, it's elongated speech, and then we start to become more specific about what pitches we're holding. Though there's this in-between area that's it reminds me a little bit of Martin Luther King in the way that it's announced, but it doesn't hold those sort of tiers of different pitches. Instead, it's all moving through it. And that's, I think, going from speaking to that sort of heightened speech into singing is a good way to find what a person's natural singing sound might be. I'm so into the bubbles. Oh, wait, Mr. Dolby, what was it? Rejects science and things scientific. Oh, he says that was just way too much, that experience. I keep thinking about food while we're doing this because I love food analogies and I also just love food. And I have to say the food that reminds me the most of the song, or this song that reminds me the most of food, however this goes. This song to me is like bubble tea. You guys are waiting for that analogy, right? Bubble tea. If you haven't had bubble tea, some people call it boba tea. When I was an exchange student in China, I would have like 2 boba teas a day. They were so cheap too. The exchange rate at the time, it was just like, whoa, I could have this for my entire diet while I'm here. And I kind of wanted to because I really loved boba tea. And then I discovered that it had a lot of stuff in it that probably wasn't the greatest for me, but I still thoroughly enjoyed boba tea there. I feel like it's such a quirky drink because it's got these like massive tapioca balls that come in there. And I really enjoyed judging how good those tapioca balls were by how well they would stick to trees. Don't think badly of me. I was young and naive. And anyhow, I still would clean up. I wouldn't just litter, right? But I'm sure there was residue from the tapioca balls. Anyhow, all of the balls and the bubbles floating around made me think of boba tea, and then the quirkiness of it all goes together. And at this moment, when I saw Mr. Dolby rejects science and things scientific, I thought, oh, that's the moment that Elizabeth rejected bubble tea. Sad. Oh, I love that double on top. And that boo boo boo. Wait, that's a very different expression of that phrase.
She blinded me with science.
It's very about you in this instance. I like the other expression better, but I like the variation most. Escape! Uh-oh. Swim! This song is delightful. I will be listening to it over and over and over in the background while I watch that footage from down Will's throat one more time. I can't believe all of the tests that we got to do with those needles, MRI, all of the stuff in between. It's incredible. If you want to watch it too, here's the link. And may you fall more in love with music every day. Mwah.